Hello there. How are you? I'm a bit bored. It's like, I don't know, something in the morning, and I can't sleep as usual. So what do? I, of course, make a video with another thick British accent. So how are you doing today? Feel free to tell me. Cause, I don't know, it's been a kind of a boring and awkward week. I know. Things that kind of bothered me today, at least. I had a phone call from my mother about an eye surgery that I'm supposed to have relatively soon. About 3 weeks. I was technically supposed to have it today in the morning, but actually over the weekend apparently the doctor got in a bicycling accident. And by bicycling I literally mean wheels. Wheels? Pedals, that's the word. Pedals. Anyway. But, yeah, so moving on. The conversation I had with my mother about the eye surgery, it just bothered me on such a huge issue because she was talking about, how they are going to do the procedure, whether or not they should cut through my eyelid or go under my eyelid. Obviously, I kind of prefer them going under my eyelid. I mean, what does it matter? Overall, the procedure should take about 30 minutes, as I was told. Well, let's just say we run that up to an hour. Is that really so horrible for surgery? I mean, 30 minutes. How horrible can that be? And my mother, she starts going off the deep end, saying, well, they're probably just raising the prices. And, what did she say? It's probably just a 2-minute procedure. And I just stopped and thought to myself, how can you make cutting up an eye a 2-minute procedure? And here's the thing that gets me is, she wants to go through my eyelid. I want to go under the eyelid. Don't you think going under something and having absolutely no cuts or abrasions or kind of incisions through something is a lot easier? A lot easier than cutting it up your eyelid and then having to sew it up, clean it up, and all those other things to try to prevent infection. I don't know, she's just a fucking moron sometimes. Actually, sometimes, what am I saying? Anyway. But yeah. And then she starts giving me advice. And this is what really, really bothers me about my mother, is she will give you advice about things she knows absolutely nothing about and act like it's real. And that's what really gets me. And, granted, she can't know what I'm thinking, but she can at least try to remember what has happened in the past. She has given me advice before. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. But, she should at least kind of keep a mental track, a score in her head, saying, alright, he responded well to this, but not to this. And I think if she actually, kind of kept that mental track, or at least even listened to me, she would find out that most of the time I didn't really listen or believe her. And here's the thing that really got me, is we're having the surgery done by an optometrist, and actually it's done by a surgeon, but this surgeon is at least part of a team of actual eye doctors. Well, she wants, just a regular MD doctor to perform the procedure. And the thing that kind of pisses me off about that is what he originally prescribed for my eyes was actually something just to make it sure that it wouldn't get infected. But in the first actual couple minutes of talking with the eye doctor, he said, well, it's kind of weird because your eye isn't infected and there's no actual threat of an infection. So right off the bat, that should kind of be a warning sign about the doctor. And I don't really like this doctor. I'm not going to give his name for whatever reason. But he's Polish. I don't mean that as a kind of slur. I'm Polish as well. But he's from Poland, Polish. I'm, ancestors Poland, Polish. So, I mean, yeah. And it's always hard to kind of get a kind of, I guess you could say, reading or at least description. There's always that kind of language barrier. So, I mean, that's one of the things I have a problem with, at least with him. But my main problem with him is you'll come in there with a missing arm and say, hey doctor, I kind of lost my arm, can you do something about it? And he'll be like, oh yeah, that's a horrible Polish accent, that sounds more German, light German, but whatever. Oh yeah, wow, I'm just gonna stop the accent while I still can, but anyway. Yeah, that's a shame that you're missing an arm. But have you noticed this bump on your leg? And it's just that's nice, you know, that's great. I'm glad you noticed the bump on my leg. But one thing's a little bit more important here, and I came in for that. Could you please help me just a tiny bit? And most of the time they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll give you some medicine for that, you know, just wait a bit. But this bump on your leg is really worrying me. I really think we need to nip it in the butt while we still can. And it's just those kind of things that kind of leave you at breathless sort of words. And that's what really bothers me about him, and why I don't like him. Aren't you glad that we have Obamacare on the way? And that's another thing that kind of pisses me off, is how people are like, oh no, it's going to be government takeover of our medical system. No, not at all. Quite the opposite. I mean, it's going to be more like insurance takeover of the medical system, which has already been what's happening over the past, I don't know, I'll just guess 30 years, well actually 40 if you think about it. But anyway, yeah, and it's just kind of so exhausting. Like, I had an ex-girlfriend, and she was a huge Republican. In fact, I kind of named her the 3 R's, well, technically 4 if you count her name. It was a religious, racist Republican, and that's her name. But anyway, let's not get into that. It just was like, ugh. And she was like, she said something, what was it, kind of funny, like, but they're gonna destroy our jobs. And that doesn't really make sense if you think about it. I mean, how can the largest economy in the world, you can't really destroy jobs, you can't really create jobs either. I mean, I guess you can in the sense of, you know, oh, you've created a kind of climate where job growth can occur. But overall, it just kind of bothers me in my own way. But getting back to healthcare, which is something I really like, I actually do kind of support pieces of the bill. But what really kind of I like about it is how, I don't know if you heard this, but apparently there's a story a couple of weeks ago, I believe in the South or South Carolina, something like that. There was actually a judge who said that, you know, government mandated healthcare, you know, requiring you to get healthcare from an insurance company is not constitutional. And I really like that idea because everyone is still allowed, and you know, they're not required to get healthcare, but they are required to, well, they're not required to get insurance, but they are required to have health care provided to them. And so I think that's a great idea because it'll actually bankrupt the kind of system. Because what it is that one line requiring you to have it is gone. But what isn't gone is you can't be denied health coverage. Now granted, you can still, be charged whatever the price is, or could be in the future, which is kind of really a shame and one of my big issues with it. But, I mean, that's kind of a great thing because, in my sense, it's really going to bankrupt the system because if you can't be denied it, then you are automatically insured it. So therefore, you don't really need insurance then until you get sick, which will of course hurt the company's bottom line, blah 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 blah, and all those great things. But I'm actually in for insurance companies going bankrupt because then that forces a sort of vacuum, or creates a vacuum that will, you know, be like, alright, who's going to take care of this massive health problem? And so then I hope the government will step in and do something and, you know, provide a public health service, which is what I'm really for. I'm actually completely for, you know, all types of government healthcare. Even though by a measurement of, you know, dollar to healthcare performance, France has the best in the world, and they have a mixture of government healthcare with insurance healthcare. So, but I'm actually completely for government provided healthcare. So while we're on that subject, let's go to Russians versus Afghans. And by that I mean the Soviet Union invasion of Afghanistan in 1987, I want to say. Not quite sure on the year, but it was during the late 80s. But I just remember like this one line that I kind of really liked that kind of sums up the war, not really, yeah, I guess you call it a war, conflict. And it was from a teacher of mine who said, you know, yeah, it's great that the Afghans were allowed to, you know, have self-determination of their own religious leaders leading the country. But is that really so great when you compare the Russian Soviets who gave you gynecologists and other healthcare systems? I really like that line. But anyway, I think I'm done for now. Kinda ran out of lines to talk about. We'll talk later. Later.